Hey guys, I wanted to do a little recap video on that bear hunt that I posted a couple weeks ago. I guess it was more than a couple weeks ago, but some of the stuff in that video I didn't get. You know, I got the story on film and everything, but obviously there's a lot of details behind the scenes that are not shown in that video. You know, you can't show that video. It's days worth of effort in a, half an hour or whatever, 45-minute. I don't even remember how long that was, an hour. I don't remember how long that film was, but condensing 100 hours into 1 hour is a lot of stuff lost. So I wanted to get into that a little bit, answer some questions and some misconceptions and things like that. So I lost some stuff because I have been having issues with my microphone, and I got a new microphone. I'm using it right now. Hopefully this turns out pretty good. I haven't really been able to play around with it yet and figure out what's working, what's not. So I had to get new cables, had to get new mounts. It's got a different windscreen, and it is a little bit windy right now. And so in that film, I lost a lot of footage because the connection wasn't working very well, and it was just kind of buzzing and beeping and clicking, and I had to throw some of that stuff out. So some of the story was lost just because there was nothing recorded of me saying it, or like I added some text at the bottom where I needed to fix some of that, but some of it I just threw it all out entirely just because I didn't have it recorded well. So, and I want to make a good product, I want to make a good film, I want to make this a good, well-rounded, finished, enjoyable viewing experience. So bad footage, bad audio, I threw that away. So got a new microphone. Hopefully this fixes a lot of it. If this works really well, I'll get another one or two just as backups and stuff, and I'll play around with the windscreen and make sure that we get good sounding video for you guys. Regarding the hunt itself, that was like that day that I killed that bear was like the first good full day that I had, like first thing in the morning to evening of hunting. It was the only bear I've seen all season, and I know some people will kind of frown upon that and say, you should have looked at more bears, you should have field judged more bears before you pulled the trigger on one. Well, I'm a weekend warrior like a lot of us, like a lot of the people watching this video. You can only get out, once or twice a week maybe for a full day hunt, and that was no different. So I went out that what was it, Friday? Went out that Friday and hunted like half the day from the car, just kind of glassing from the car, and then went out on a little walk that evening and spotted that bear like 2.2 miles away. I mean, this was far from where I was. So snuck in the next day, killed that bear, all was well. So why did I take this bear? Well, because I always want to hunt more, but we did have a second tag to fill with the wife, and I wasn't going to be as picky this year since I didn't fill my tag last year. I saw like 7 bears, had like 8 bear encounters last year, so and still wasn't able to fill the tag. So this year I wasn't going to be as picky, and on top of that, once I got into this location, once I got up to this mountain, once I saw how everything was kind of panning out, I loved this story. I loved that the footage I had of this bear, and I just the hunt was turning out to be the kind of hunt I expected. I wanted a real mountain hunt, a real mountain bear, and once I got into this situation, I was like, this is turning out to be such a great hunt, such a great story, and I wouldn't be upset with taking this bear out of this location, way on top of this mountain by myself, after glassing him up, 2.2 miles away the night before. So the hunt itself was just phenomenal in my opinion. Having a really big 7.5 foot bear, awesome, I'll take that any day. But having a smaller bear with a really good story, with a really good effort put into it, is, in my opinion, a win just the same. So being a weekend warrior, I'd only have so many days to go out, and I knew that if it's anything like last year, I might have all these bear encounters and never actually be in a position for a shot, or be a legal bear, or be legal time and all that stuff. So I just If I had like a solid week off of work and I can just go and chase bears all over the mountains, I would. But when you're going out for a day on a Saturday or whatever, and then you spot a bear, well, the following Saturday he's not there. He's already 1,000 feet higher or on the other side of the mountain or whatever. So you have to pretty much start over and over again. So I wasn't going to be picky. Plus, it looked like a really good bear. It was a good distance. It was good weather. It was just panning out to be the perfect hunt. I will say though, the very first day I did go out, so you saw me kind of park, and there's that beaver destruction going on in that road there. That day I got home, I had 17 ticks on me. So someone might, frown upon that too and say they're not going spring bear hunting because of all the ticks. Well, that's just part of it. Like, we here in Montana, here in the Rockies, like, you just expect ticks to be part of spring bear and spring turkey. It's inevitable. You can spray yourself down, you can put all these repellents on, permethrin and all that all over your clothes. They will still find you, they'll still get you, they'll still freaking crawl in your shirt, down your shirt, around your collar and your hoodies, and get inside your underwear and your t-shirt and go down your pants. They'll get everywhere, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. So I do wear gaiters. I do try to wear tighter fitting clothes. When I wear my pack, I have the hip belt generally on, and it's pretty tight, so they can't really crawl up my shirt, but they'll still get down your shirt here. They'll get up your sleeves, and they'll get in your hat and stuff, and there's just only so much you can do. So the first day I got home, 17 ticks off my clothes and off my pack and off my boots and socks and stuff. They'll find a way. I just do a good check over every night when I get, if I had a good full day and I know I've seen ticks that day, I'll just come home, I'll strip everything down, I'll do a good check over with the wife, hop in the shower, and I've also done a little check over, hopped in the shower, and then you find one in the shower. So that's just part of it. I ain't scared about it. I mean, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And it could happen right here in your yard or in your house or whatever. If you have pets, if you have horses like I do, you're gonna be around ticks in the spring. So part of it, just got to do a good check over. The day I did shoot my bear, I was actually planning on going out with the wife. She wasn't feeling good, so I went out by myself. And it was a complete solo hunt. Went to a spot I've never been to before. Wife had no idea where I was. I do take the inReach with me though, so if I do need to text back and forth, I could do that. In the particular area I was in, I was way on top of a mountain, and I could see a cell tower. So they just happened to put a cell tower close by, and once you get up a certain elevation, you could see like a lot of cell towers, and it doesn't take long for, you could hit a tower from 50 miles away as long as you can see it. So I saw the cell tower, and I could video chat with her in the video, but anywhere down in the trees or down where those logging roads were, there's no service. So, but I do take the inReach with me, and I did notice on this particular this season that if I have it on and I'm just maybe sending a message a day and I'm not running the tracker, it's losing about 1% of discharge per hour. So if I leave with it 100% charged, I turn it on, I text the wife where I'm at or where I parked or whatever, and then I don't turn it off till I get back home. So if I'm out for 12 hours, I'm expecting to lose about 12% of charge. So it was kind of doing that pretty regularly. So, and then if I forget to turn it off when I get home and I finally get to my stuff in the morning, then you can expect another 8 hours or 10 hours of lost charge. So even if you're not using it and not texting and not tracking, so if you are texting a lot and tracking a lot, I would expect it to be a little bit more. But for me, I have the screen brightness up pretty high, and I do check once I walk. I check, like, I hit it a couple times just to send like a message to the wife, like a preset message. If I'm like getting really far from where I parked and I know that she'd want to know if I'm like on the other side of the canyon or whatever, I'll just hit that button like 3 or 4 times and it will send a message. But and then I do the elevation thing too. Sometimes it helps, like, instead of pulling out the phone and looking at the elevation, like I know I'm supposed to be at 44 or 47 or 5,000 or whatever, I just hit that button a couple times. It'll just tell me roughly where I'm at. So like if I'm at 4,000, okay, I know I'm not in bear country yet. Like, don't even bother like trying to stay quiet. Don't even bother looking for sign. Like, I know I got to be up there. And if I, hit this mountain and I'm like, oh wait, I'm at 5,000. I'm too high right now for this time of year. Got to drop down. So elevation is key when it comes to hunting spring bears, I noticed. Tripod use. You guys saw me take that 658-yard shot off the tripod. I will say that I probably would not have been able to do that shot off of my pack or off of a rock or something, off of a tree branch stump. Like, that tripod was absolutely key to me, and I don't even go hunting anymore without it. So I do all my glassing on this tripod. I've shot a couple does in the past off of the tripod standing up, and it works really well. And then obviously shot that bear off the tripod at 658. So having that super solid platform where I can just set that ball to the exact angle and spread those legs out far and wide and just get a good solid platform, it was absolutely crucial for taking this shot. So trying to do it off a pack or something, I don't know if I'd be able to do that. Probably wouldn't have attempted the shot, I should say, without the tripod. So I did have the rifle clamped on to the Arca Swiss mount on the tripod. The rifle has a Arca Swiss plate that I drilled and tapped to a 1/4 thread so I can mount a plate to it. And so that was all custom, that's not factory at all. And it's not great. I don't like how it looks and how it turned out, but it does work really well, as you guys can see. So it just clamps right on there. I tightened that nut down that day, and the end of that rifle was completely fixed. So all I really had to worry about once that front end was clamped onto that tripod with 3 legs on the ground was back here. So making sure that all the movement back here was controlled. I didn't have to worry about anything up front at all. So I basically just halved all of my movement in that rifle and my breathing and all that just by clamping it on that tripod. And then once I had it in my shoulder here, I knew I had to get it like really, really stiff and firm, and not sliding around and bouncing on my clothes and stuff. So what I did was I put my hand kind of like in my armpit, and I kind of set the gun right on top of my hand. I just kind of clamped the two together and start controlling my breathing and a tiny little tap. So that rifle's got a 2 pound trigger, so 32-ounce trigger. That's not factory. I think factory is like 4.5. So I had to do that myself. I bought a spring trigger kit from eBay for like $8, and didn't expect too much from it, but it worked out really, really well. I completely took the safety thing out of the trigger. I don't know what you'd even call that. It's like you have to press the middle part down first before the rest of the trigger will go. Hated that. Always gets in the way of gloves, and just it's kind of like misleading what you're actually touching. So took that whole thing out and then replaced that spring inside that trigger housing. I actually broke the trigger housing once trying to mess with it, and Ruger sent me a new one. So I put that in there and put the spring in there, and polished everything I could reach, made sure everything's working smooth, and I got that thing down to 32 ounces, which is totally fine for me. 2 pounds exactly. For that kind of a shot, I think you absolutely have to have a light trigger. So, I mean, I don't know, anybody who says they can do without a light trigger like that, like the just from where you start to feel the pressure of the trigger to actually braking is enough to move like 10 MOA. So I don't understand like how people shoot anything with that stock trigger, 4.5 pounds, or like my Glock's got 5.5 pounds. I mean, that's so much pressure to get anything to break. So like, you could be dead on, and by the time you get back to where it breaks, it's just you moved freaking feet. So the rifle isn't exactly stock, I should say. I don't know if a stock Ruger American can pull off that kind of shot, but because I did the tripod mount to it, I did the trigger work to it. The action, I also polished it, so I put like JB bore cleaning compound all over the bolt, and inside that action housing and stuff all over the lugs, and I just ran that thing in and out, probably 2,000 times. I don't even know. So I like lapped it. So now, before it was kind of like a Megatron kind of a sound, like just going in there, just kind of like riveting almost. Now, I mean, you just kind of push that bolt and it just slides right in, and angle it like 30 degrees, and it just falls out. So not like that really would have changed the shot, I guess, but definitely made that rifle a little bit nicer. It's a $420 rifle from 6 years ago. That, you know, I've had it for 6-7 years maybe, and I didn't. It was when I first got into hunting. Didn't know what else to get. Wanted something cheap just to kind of dip my toes in, and it's killed so many deer for me. So many bears now. Mountain lion. I've shot at foxes, I think, with it. I don't even know. Bunch of stuff. So had no reason to replace it. I just kind of wanted a little bit nicer. So I did the trigger work, did the tripod attachment, and did the bolt. And I mean, it works. It freaking works. It's a nail driver. The scope mount on there. So it came with like two. I don't know what they call it, like Weaver or something. It's got like a different size slot in the back than it does in the front. No idea who came up with that. Whoever did it needs to get freaking fired. But I put a one-piece loopholed Picatinny rail across at the top, and no regrets there. So awesome. It's solid one piece instead of two separate pieces that don't align very well. Solid one piece. I think it's like 2 screws on the front, 2 screws in the back, and then Vortex Precision Pro, whatever the heck, rings. So that's as far as the rifle mods go. And then, you know, obviously the sling that I put on there, you guys saw that, just like a neoprene with a nylon webbing sling. But none of that really changes the shot. So the scope that I ended up going with, I'm keeping it. I've had it for a couple years now. I absolutely love it. It's the Vortex Strike Eagle 5-25 by 56. So super huge objective bell on it, gathers a lot of light. It's got the illuminator reticle, which I've yet to actually use in a hunting situation. So personally, I'd probably go with the Vortex Venom and get rid of that illumination feature and save yourself $100. But I guess it could be useful if you're like shooting coyotes or something in like almost nighttime with spotlights or something. I'm not sure, but I've never used the illumination feature. But the whole scope is super clear. It's got a good field of view. It's first focal plane, which for me is a absolute necessity these days. I don't think I'll ever buy a second focal plane scope anymore. I got a couple that I need to replace. But the magnification I settled, so it's a 5-25, and some people will say, you know, you need a 25 power or 30 power, 32 power or something for shooting long range. So I ended up like zooming in onto this bear, and then I realized that the reticle was just covering up way too much of the bear at that magnification. I mean, think about how far 658 yards is. It's over half of a kilometer, you know. So for you non-American people, but it just covered up so much of the bear. I had to dial down a little bit, and it made the image a little bit brighter. And when I got home, I was curious, you know, what magnification did I actually settle at and shoot this bear at? And I am pretty sure it was about 16 power. So the scope goes from 5-25, and I shot this bear at about 16. So 16 is enough for a 658 yard shot on a black bear. So that really throws a wrench into all the people saying you need to have, you know, 20 power at least to hunt over 500 yards, or you need 25 power, 30 power, whatever, 40 power even. Like, you really don't. At that point, especially if you're using first focal, the reticle is just covering up way too much of the animal. So 16 power is all you need. A 4-12, I don't know, it's a little bit small for a 658 yard shot, but maybe like a 5-15, 5-20, somewhere in there. That's a money scope. Also, the more you zoom in, the less light you're getting, apparently, and sometimes it helps having that 56 millimeter objective. You know, some guys will use a 44 or a 46 or 50, 52, whatever they make anymore, 54. I just went 56, go big or go home type of situation. So I just wanted all the light, and I'm okay with carrying that extra couple ounces for that bigger glass. It was partially raining and windy that day, and that rain was really covering up some of that bear. You know, at 658 yards, you got so much rain that you're looking at. Like, I was looking at this bear, and I just see like the rain droplets, like all the different ranges of rain from here all the way to that bear. And actually, I will say that it helped me, because we had gusts of wind, kind of like it is now, where it'd be like still for a couple minutes and it'd be 0 miles an hour, and then it'll get that random gust like 10 miles an hour, and just no way to really plan for it or account for it. So when I was getting dialed on this bear, I was looking through the scope, and I was looking at that bear bedded on that rock, and I could see like the rain falling straight, and then sometimes it'll start curving a little bit, and like in my area it'll be straight, and then in the canyon it'll be curving a little bit, and I can see way back there it'll be straight again. And so I was just waiting until all the rain droplets are just falling straight, pulled that shot. So I knew all the wind was good from me to that bear. And it's like, you know, a second or something for that bullet to go from me to that bear at 658 yards. I don't know what it ends up being, maybe like less than a second for that bullet to fly. But hit that bear perfectly through the ribs, out the ribs on the other side. I'm not sure if I double lunged him. The lungs looked really, really bloodshot, but I might have been just a little bit high. Maybe just a little bit higher than the lungs, because I don't know. He was kind of bedded. Maybe he was kind of pushing his chest a little bit different. I don't remember, but I mean, you saw the video. He ran 30, 40 yards and he was out. So before he even started tumbling down that cliff, he was dead. I mean, it just looks like he came up to that rock, and he was already out, and hit the head on that rock and just started tumbling. So died really fast. I don't think the fall killed him. I think he was dead before the fall. And you know, everyone's asking me, well, how far did he fall? Well, I don't know. I didn't exactly go up to that rock he was bedded at. I didn't exactly go up to that rock that he hit his head on and tumbled down. But from just kind of what I could see from Onyx and being there in that one spot, I'd say right at the bottom of that frame where that video stopped, right at the bottom of the video, he probably went another 10, 15 yards, 20 yards maybe. So from the top of that rock, the video frame, and then another 20 yards. So at the most, he probably fell like, I don't know, 80 yards at most. So I was expecting him to be way down at the bottom, like where it flattened out, because it was such a steep face that I killed him on. But thankfully I didn't go down to the bottom. I went right back to where I knew I shot him, and found him there. So I think he like started going down. So I guess, how did I say this? Cliffs, you know, steep face. Yeah, he started tumbling down the mountain, and I think he just slapped against a tree or something and just fell straight down right where that tree was. And that's what broke his fall, from just tumbling, because it was down. It was really down there. He would have kept going for a long ways if he didn't hit a tree. And then you guys saw me processing, like I was just slipping and sliding. I only put like one clip in there because, I mean, I can only show so much in a short video, but I was sliding, trying to get this bear quartered up and processed. It's really windy right now. I might have to wait a couple minutes for this to calm down a little bit. Alright, so the next thing, parallax. So this is a funny one. So I have my rifle sighted in at 200 yards, and I have the parallax knob on the side. So it's the same one that does the illumination, but it's a little bit different, I guess. But I have that knob set to 200 yards on the parallax adjustment knob. When I looked at that bear through that rifle, it was the blurriest, freaking confusing thing. I was like, what happened to my scope? I mean, looked back, I looked at the scope, looked at the glass, everything looks good. Because I looked at that bear and it was so blurry, and I thought my whole objective thing got all damaged, or maybe I like accidentally like loosened it up and twisted it out or something. it took me a couple seconds to realize that it's the parallax. So because this was 658 yards and the parallax knob was set to 200, I had to crank that thing. So it goes to 500 and then the next mark is the infinity. So I basically went to the 500 and then I went another like 1/8 inch, just kind of estimating where a 658 mark would be. Obviously not infinity, but I was like, I don't know, I was close to the infinity basically. And then it got so clear. I knew I was in the zone once it got that clear. So don't forget your parallax adjustment. That could bite you in the butt. And then in the video, so someone's been asking me, I want to see the vapor trail or whatever. You can definitely see the vapor trail of that shot in the video, but you have to turn on the 4K 60 FPS setting. So where the little gear icon is in the top corner somewhere, maybe it might be down at the bottom corner here, depending on if you're looking at it with your phone or a desktop computer or something. Hit the gear icon, hit the settings, and then I think it'll be on quality. So hit quality, and then it'll say 2160p 60. So that's 60 frames per second. I try to get my videos super, smooth and crisp. So the best I can do is 4K 60 with my phone, and with post editing, try to get things smoothed out a little bit so there's none of that glitchiness when you're watching. It's just kind of like ripply. It's really hard to watch, especially like fast moving, like a car driving or like a animal running or something. It's just so glitchy. So 2160p 60, that's the best resolution. If you turn that on, wait a couple seconds for it to load, you can watch that vapor trail just come in and slap that bear right dead center of that bear. You see like a little explosion behind the bear. I don't know if that hit a rock or what happened, but you could definitely see it if you turn up the quality. A couple things. So one of the dumbest things I've ever done hunting, I'm going to confess to right now. I was so dead after that whole pack out. I was so dead, and the trail I was walking was an old logging road that I had no idea if it had a gate or not. Turns out it does not have a gate. It's just a little bit thick, so you could probably drive a four-wheeler in there. You can drive a Jeep in there if you wanted to, but I had no idea. So when I hit this trail coming down this 600-foot drop off this face, I was going to walk it. I was going to walk it till I hit the main road because I didn't know if it was gated or not. Looking back now, I probably could have left everything there, hiked out empty, and then drove in with something and picked everything up. But it was only like, a mile and a half or something, so I was just going to walk it. 2 miles, I don't remember now. But when I got to close to the end where the main road is, the one that I drove my Jeep on, there was a fork, and it came in right here. And when I was getting close, I saw that road coming in right here, and I thought that was the main road intersecting with the one I was on. And so my plan was I'll just get to the main road, I'll drop all my stuff off by a tree, and I'll hike a mile to get in my car, drive back and pick everything up. Then you don't have to carry all that weight up to the car if I could just walk empty and then drive back down and pick everything up. Well, I saw this road coming in. I thought it was the main road, but it wasn't. And I got really, really turned around in the dark, especially after hiking for, this long, getting my ass beat by the mountain and having such a long, hard day. Didn't really click with me what this was. It was just another branch from the logging road system, and it wasn't the main named road, I guess. And I set everything down by this tree, just picked a random kind of a bigger tree, rifle, meat, game bags, pack, binos, rangefinder, and I just took the bare essentials, took the Glock, inReach, power bank, my phone and my tripod to record, and maybe like a flashlight or a knife or something. I don't remember now. But set everything up, and I walked like 10 yards, and then I actually saw the main road. Maybe not 10 yards, I don't know, 20 yards. Saw the main road, and it just like confused the hell out of me. Like, I thought this was the main road right here. What I just walk onto right here, pulled out the Onyx. It showed I was standing on the main road. I'm like, whatever, I'll just walk it, see what happens. Started walking, and immediately I was like, oh yeah, this is it. Okay, I recognize all this. Walked up to the car, grabbed my car, drove all the way back down to this fork, got out, and I could not find my stuff. And I was so confused. I looked everywhere. I looked in all the bushes. I looked on the road. I looked for any sign of footprints. I looked for any sign of a bear dragging off my stuff. I was like, did a bear grab my meat? Why would a bear grab my rifle? Why would a bear grab my binos and rangefinder? Like, nothing made sense. Did somebody grab my stuff and they're going to turn it in? Drove down all the way to the highway to see if I could see anyone. Nothing. Nobody there. I didn't hear any trucks driving. Didn't see any tracks. No evidence of anyone taking any of my stuff, and yet all my stuff's gone. Finally decided I'll start going back the way I came. You know, if I came off that mountain this way, I'll just start going back that way. Maybe a bear took it and just started dragging it up that mountain over there. I don't know. So turned it into this fork and immediately saw that other fork. And I'm like, oh, that's what happened. I set it 20 yards away from the main road, thinking I put it right on the main road, and it was actually like 20 yards behind. And in the dark, everything looks the same. Every tree looks like every other tree. Every trail looks like every other trail. So finally found my stuff. Everything was exactly like I left it, and nobody stole anything. Nobody took anything. But man, that gut-wrenching feeling of thinking all my footage is gone, all my meat is gone, thousands of dollars worth of gear that I fine-tuned over the years is gone. Like, did a bear take it? I mean, I'm not about to fight a bear over a rangefinder, you know. No idea what to do with that in that situation. So it was just a horrible feeling. But found all this stuff exactly like I left it. Never felt more dumb in my life. And you know, I'm an honest guy. I'm gonna freaking confess to that. That was so stupid, and I hope I never do anything like that again. And I'm just warning you guys to freaking mark everything on your Onyx, everywhere you set your stuff down, because in the dark, everything looks exactly the same, especially in a place you've never been to. So I got home pretty late that night, you know, maybe like 11, 12, somewhere in there by midnight. Got home, dropped everything off at the meat house, came up and just took a shower and crashed. So it was a good long day. It was a good long hunt, but got the meat home, got all the gear home, got all the footage home. Wife was happy, I was happy, everything turned out perfect. So overall, great hunt. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, you know, I read everything, I answer everything almost, and don't be afraid to contact me. Some people will say that shot was unethical. I just remembered. I did the ballistics on the calculator app, and for a 270 Winchester 145 grain Hornady ELDX, at like 2,800, 2,900 feet per second out of the muzzle, it's got about 1,000 to 1,200 foot-pounds of energy at 658. So potentially, you know, 1,100 foot-pounds. That is plenty for a small bear. They're not like a deer. They're not like a big elk or a moose or something. They don't have like a lot of fur. Like in this general area, like even humans, like I have like ribs. Like I can feel my ribs right here. So bears kind of the same thing. They have really thin skin right here, and they have really soft fur right here. So it's not like the back of the shoulders and the neck. It's very thick, but like down here, it's very, very thin. So it doesn't take much to puncture through the rib cage of a bear like that. The general consensus for elk would be kind of like 1,500 foot-pounds. For a small black bear, I'd say probably like 1,000 foot-pounds is plenty. I mean, some guys even hunt bears with Glocks, like a Glock 20 10mm with a little red dot on it or something, or a scope on it. I mean, the highest muzzle energy stuff I could find for my Glock 20 is like 750 foot-pounds. So if guys are hunting bears with guns that have 750 at the muzzle, then there's nothing wrong with 1,000 or 1,100, 1,200 at 658. So still more energy than a handgun, and plenty for a bear. I mean, you guys saw that shot. It did not take long to kill that bear. There was almost no tracking involved. I never even found blood when I found my bear. So I just kind of like looked at the rocks, looked at, oh, I kind of recognize that tree. He probably fell this way. Oh, there he is. Okay. So plenty of energy for a bear with a 270 at 658 with the 145 grain ELDX. And those are meant to expand at really long ranges. So I used to shoot the SSTs. They're meant to expand more like 100, 200, 300. The LDXs are better at the 4, 5, 6, 700 yard range. So, and that's what I've been shooting the last few years because it's been a little bit more accurate and easier to find for me. So, all in all, I hope that answered some questions. Hope that gave you guys some inspiration. So get out there, kill some bears. Season's still going here in Montana, so good luck.